visit with the Buffalo Bills later this week. Tune in tonight as the Nashville Sounds are back on the diamond at home taking on the Louisville Bats. You can listen to pregame coverage at 6:20 with first pitch to follow at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan app on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is hot. I mean, big time hot. Let's find out how hot. It is so hot that it doesn't want to tell me.
94.
94. Okay, that's hot.
Supposed to cool off next week, though.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Let's go to Murfreesboro. Say hello to Mr. Positive himself, Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
George, have you been hot once today?
Yes. I went out and walked earlier today.
Oh, you did?
I
Good
did.
for you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm happy for
45
you.
minutes, yeah.
Nice.
I can feel the sincerity dripping off of you.
I see that I'm having a bad hair day, but we're just going to have to get over it, I guess.
What's happened? Because I was about to ask, are we...
I don't know. I don't know.
Gone down the road of a different hairdo?
No, I've been wearing a hat all day, and I went in there and I put some water on it. I just let it go where it may. So right now, I'm not really worried about it.
I would say at this point, put the hat back on.
I'll do that at the break.
Sounds good. Let's check in with Terry McCormick. It's time for his award-winning Daily Titans update. Professor, what do you got for us?
Oh, gosh. Well, first of all, what award did we win? That would be one of my questions.
Most likely to be invited back for another year.
Oh, okay. A participation trophy like T-ball.
Oh, gosh. My son used to throw participation trophies away like it was going out of style.
Good for him.
I mean, when he was playing baseball and they came in second place, do you think he kept that trophy? He threw that thing in the garbage before we got out of the park.
Wow.
Oh.
So,
Well,
Terry, what is the big news of the day?
Well, the thing that should have been, put a stop to and ended yesterday, lingered into today, the dealing with Jeffrey Simmons, talking about his little shoving match with Cam Ward. And, as you well know, George, keep this in mind, since Kelly is a former quarterback, hands off the quarterbacks. Don't touch them. And so Jeffrey Simmons spoke briefly about that today, said that, he shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 blah. Didn't want to take any more questions on it. Honestly, Cam Ward probably should have stayed out of the fray himself and not put himself in harm's way. But that was kind of part of the talk. And then the other topic was L'Jarius Sneed. And I asked Brian Callahan point blank, I said, are you expecting him to be available for week 1? And he couldn't definitively say if he is. So that answered my question right there. He's probably not going to be available.
Well,
unless something drastically changes.
Can you blame Brian Callahan for being a little skittish about it? Because he hadn't been available for much.
No, he hasn't. And it's getting to the point where it's just ridiculous. I mean, he had a cleanup knee procedure, or so we were told, in May. Well, that's now been 3 months and still no sign of him, except just, occasionally you'll see him work on the side with the trainer. And that's about the extent of it, or walking around, just outside the facility. But other than that, nothing. And, this is a guy who, is taking longer with this than Lloyd Cushenberry did to come back from an Achilles injury. And then you talk about, the whole Snead situation. When a guy hasn't been practicing and hasn't been playing, he returns to practice, as Brian Callahan pointed out, but there's a ramping up period for guys that haven't been playing. And my guess is his ramping up period, whenever that begins, is going to take a while because he's been so inactive. It's been 10 months since he's played a snap of football. So, I'm not expecting much to change in 2 weeks that's been going on for 10 months.
So let me try it this way. You're around there a lot, virtually every day. What is your theory on what's really going on with this guy?
My theory, I don't have anything to back this up. So nobody say, sources said, or nobody said that I, am claiming this, but
this is Terry's theory.
I think the guy was probably more damaged goods than they realized, and he's injured this knee again, and he's just maybe not going to get back health-wise to what he was before. They're just going to have to monitor it and at some point take what they can get if he can come back.
So, Terry, let me ask this question. How does that happen? How is it that you sign a free agent for the kind of bucks that they did, got everybody excited, and yet in the backdrop is this kind of medical stuff? I mean, isn't there some due diligence on the front end?
There is. But Kelly will tell you this, having been through it many times himself. If you want a guy to pass the physical, he'll pass the physical. If you don't want the guy to pass the physical and you want to renege on a deal or whatever, he won't pass the physical.
That's correct. Totally correct. Because I just want to know, I think Terry's totally right with damaged goods, because they're either not telling us what the procedure all encompassed or something else is going on. I just I'm with you. Like Lloyd Cushenberry had an Achilles tear, and now you're telling us that the Snead kid is not back from this procedure. So obviously there was more to the procedure than they're telling everybody.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, because, if it's a typical scope, even if it's a meniscus that they took out, that's generally 4 to 6 weeks, right?
Right. Correct. I just don't understand. You got to be up front. And I was in one of these situations too. I had broke my leg, and then, the media was told that I would be back and that they weren't sure if I was going to play next week. Well, they knew I wasn't going to play because, and they don't want to give the other team an advantage, but I'm going to be out. So at some point they're going to find out. What does it matter?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things, and I'll say this, it's been several years ago, and you may have been you were probably still playing in the league when this happened, or maybe you had been recently retired, but Ben Roethlisberger got hurt. And, teams were dancing around, teams like to dance around, especially if it's a quarterback involved or a key player involved. Well, Mike Tomlin just strolls up to the podium and he says, Ben's out, going to be out for the next month. We're going with Charlie Batch and we'll be just fine. That was so honest and refreshing. You wish more people would do that type of thing.
Amen.
Terry's, Kelly's on the injury list with that hair.
Questionable, Kelly. Questionable.
Very
It is
questionable.
questionable. I didn't realize it was this bad until I looked at it in the camera, but I will fix it here in the next few minutes.
Good. Look forward to that.
You look like, no offense, Kelly, you look like you're in an MTV video from about 1985.
I feel like I'm in an MTV video being on with George and Billy sometimes.
Oh, wow. So, Terry, any other important news that you need to share?
One other thing, J.C. Latham left practice early today, not disclosed as to why, but he did go inside after just a very early in the drills and did not return.
Okay. Keep us updated. We'll talk again tomorrow, same time, same place.
All right. Thanks.
That's Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitanInsider.com, with his daily Titans update. Billy?
Now, time for the update brought to you by Football Night in Nashville. Kicking off September the 4th, Thursday night, as the Cowboys travel to Philadelphia. Come out and join us at Sports and Social in Green Hills.
By the way,
the Green Hills Mall.
When you do that on Thursday night, September the 4th, make sure and register for the chance to win a many thousands of dollars golf cart that we will give away in December. It'll make somebody a heck of a Christmas present.
Mikey's Motors.
Bingo.
All right, we got a lot to do today, and we kick it off with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They have a quarterback, C.J. Carr, has handed the keys to the Irish car this season. He's a redshirt freshman, so young kid, hasn't played a ton, but did beat out Kenny Minchie. Of course, we know him well, playing at Pope Prep several years back. Apparently, we heard from John Bryce that it was an even competition and that he didn't count out Kenny Minchie in this. I wouldn't be surprised if Minchie still plays at some points this season. And C.J. Carr's grandfather is former Michigan coach Lloyd Carr.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know that. He will make his first career start at Miami Sunday night, August 31st. He only made one appearance last season, and it was at Purdue. That's not necessarily at Miami.
The Catholics versus the convicts.
Are they going to?
Who you got, George?
The convicts. They're at home.
You do?
You're the only one that's picked them so far. From the people we've had on the you've asked a few people.
Yeah.
And they've.
I mean, do you think I just go with the flow? Just whatever the public.
Billy, how does this redshirt freshman quarterback fit into the picture with you? Do you still think the Catholics will beat the convicts now?
I do. I think Notre Dame's more talented than Miami. It's not going to be easy, and I think it's going to be a good game. But, I mean, you're just saying because Miami's at home.
Pretty much. If the game's at Notre Dame wins. By the way.
But when's the last time Miami had a big time? I mean, it'll be a good environment and a good atmosphere.
Oh, no, it will be a great environment.
Orange out.
This is Catholics versus convicts, and I will predict that there will be a lightning delay in the game.
I would not be surprised. And you've also got that Florida State game hosting Alabama. There's going to be some rain might help them down there, honestly, because obviously there's no roof. But it'll be interesting. In the SEC, Auburn now claims 9 national championships and 15 conference titles. Previously, there have been 2 national titles recognized inside Jordan-Hare Stadium, 1957 and 2010, and 3 more quietly noted in the media guide a long time ago. 4 more national titles will now be recognized.
So how have they done that?
I don't know.
They just wake up one day and say,
you brought it up, Billy. I mean, you brought this up. Have some backing to it. Like, how did this come about?
I mean, I don't know. 2004. I mean, they didn't. That's the one I'm confused about.
He's just asking, did you research? And clearly the answer is...
How much extra research do you want me to do?
That's a big negative.
I mean,
this is one of these Billy situations where he just throws something out there on the wall to see if it sticks.
I mean, how does reclaiming national? Have y'all never heard of a team reclaiming a national championship?
Not many of them.
Don't they? I mean, there's a lot of info here. You want me to read Moby Dick for you guys? And
the hope was that you would have sort of the spirit of the story. And
listen,
when I asked the question, you did not.
We can ask Drew DeArmond, who does radio in Huntsville. How about that?
I want you to ask him, Billy.
Okay, I will.
Don't try to pass this off.
The spirit of the story.
You're taking on some water.
Yeah, courtesy of Kelly. Also, Tennessee increases the 2026 season ticket cost by an average of 4%. Once again, Danny White wrote in an email, "Our goal is to give you ample time to plan effectively, take advantage of extended payment options, and continue supporting Tennessee football with confidence."
Oh, Danny boy.
He's taking on some water, too.
Seems like things have gotten expensive under Danny boy.
Yes. But you know what? People will buy it up.
Exactly.
As long as you win.
The 4% increase from 2025 to 26 is slightly below the 4.5% increase from 2024 to 2025.
Well, that certainly makes it all better.
Absolutely. In the NFL, the Colts have named Daniel Jones their starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. Shane Steichen had some interesting quotes today. He said, I think the guys have taken to him. He's a great communicator with the guys. You can see that veteran presence out there. So I'm excited for that. He's our starting quarterback for the season. I don't want to have a quick leash on that. I feel comfortable in his abilities. That's a key quote there.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Richardson, played a good bit last year, and don't think the Colts ownership is too pleased with what he's done.
Kelly, this is not a good day for him.
No, it is not. And what he's saying is, I made a mistake drafting Anthony Richardson. That's what that's about right there. I told y'all going into it. What a guy does, I've said it over and over about Will Levis, and I know everybody's tired of hearing me say this, but the same things that Anthony Richardson did in college, he did in the pros. And he's got the injury bug too. He can't stay on the field. He's a physical looking specimen, but like he can throw the ball through a brick wall, but he's not accurate with the ball. You have to be accurate in the National Football League, and it amazes me, George, the egos of some of these coaches, because they say, hey, they didn't know how to coach him in college. Well, guess what? That's going to come over, and it's going to keep going in the National Football League. And just because you think you're a great coach, sometimes those guys are unfixable, and they just made a mistake. That's part of it. And I hate saying that about a quarterback. I do, guys.
Got a few basketball notes. John Wall, 5-time All-Star, has retired after 11 seasons in the NBA, now 34 years old. He played most of his career with the Wizards after they made him the first overall pick back in 2010 out of Kentucky, SEC Player of the Year, of course, but he's been banged up. Injuries plagued him the second half of his career. He never played more than half the games in the past 6 seasons, and he didn't play at all the last 2 years. So probably not a shock, but a really good college career, solid NBA career. Probably could have been better if you look back at it. We got a couple of exhibition games to talk about. Memphis and Arkansas will play an exhibition game October the 28th at FedEx Forum. Exciting game for Memphis fans as John Calipari makes his return to Memphis for the first time since leaving for Kentucky in 2009.
So if I remember correctly, Arkansas was the opponent when Memphis unveiled the pyramid. Why do I know that? Because I was there. That was.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, St. Jude's, and the deal is with these exhibitions is that the money has to go to charities. So previously, they could only take place against non-D1 teams without a waiver. Waivers could be granted for exhibition games against D1 opponents if proceeds were donated to charity.
So let me ask this question, because you're going to tell me the same thing with Vandy in Virginia, October 16th at Memorial Gym. If it's legal in hoops, why can't football teams have a spring game against somebody else?
Agreed.
The coaches won't agree to it.
Oh, I don't think that's it at all.
That's what I always hear, that these coaches, they don't, with the tampering and they want to get the player on film.
You may be right about that part. You might be right.
But that's a good point. If basketball coaches can agree, why can't football coaches?
On that, we go to the break.
Yes.
When we come back, Tony Basilio will join us. Remember a week ago, a ton of info that he brought us. We'll see what happens in round 2, coming up next on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds are back at First Horizon Park to start a 6-game series against Louisville. Pre-game at 6:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
A week ago, right at this moment, Tony Basilio was on fire with great info on a variety of fronts. He joins us by phone from up in the Knoxville area. Tony, how are you?
Well, I guess this week I'm back to my usual mediocre self.
Oh, no. That is never the case. By the way, congratulations to Kelly on his hat. Kelly, things look much better.
George, worry about your comb over. Don't worry. George, worry about your comb over. Don't worry about my hat.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay,
wow,
fine.
it's personal in here.
There we go. So a week ago, you were all over the Boo Carter story with the mom and the whole 9 yards. Has anything happened since then?
No, it's like kind of calmed down, and Heupel was talking about it today, and because he had a media opportunity. But the thing about Boo Carter is, it's interesting as camp's gone along, he's not really been acclimated in camp things. Like he was asked today about him participating in the Syracuse game, which is a week and a half away. And essentially, Josh Heupel was kind of like, well, I guess we'll wait and see, basically. Like these coaches today, and he's chief among them, have perfected the way to answer a question without answering a question.
He doesn't give you anything.
I'm talking like nothing.
I mean, I don't even know why media members go to his press conferences.
Well, if you were a coach, wouldn't you do it the same way?
But give them something. I mean, give the fans something. It's not for the media. It's, talk to your fans.
They're a conduit to the fans.
Yes.
Thank you, Billy.
It's a funny thing with Heupel, though, because I just think he just wants to coach football, draw plays up, coach football, and he's pretty darn good at it, really.
So, Tony, it appears that Danny White's been busy in the last 24, 36 hours with the stuff that has gone out to season ticket holders. It feels like something you can get away with when your team goes 9-3, 10-2, 11-1. But boy, that puts a lot of pressure on Heupel.
The whole thing's so pressure-packed, George. And the relationship between the fan at the SEC level and these schools has never been more transactional than it is right now. You've got people locally. There's a story of a man that's 85 years old. He's had tickets since the late 60s in basketball, and they basically took his tickets from him this year. And unless he made a big contribution for where he was sitting, and they wouldn't even give this guy a some sort of dispensation or special whatever you want to call it, blessing or whatever.
Grandfather,
whatever. It's the era. It is the era we're living in. I think what's interesting is that you would do that a week and a half before a season starts. And I don't know what that says. Does that say that you're highly confident in what's going to happen this season, or you're highly unconfident in what's going to happen this year? I don't quite understand or know how to read what it means that Josh Heupel has done this, or that Danny White and his lieutenants, as he likes to call them, we pretend like we're in the military, as they've done that. It's rather odd.
So in Danny's case, he's got some really good coaches who have performed at a really high level. Heupel gets them to a college football playoff. Rick Barnes, very deep into the NCAA. Vitello with a championship on the national level. But, that all goes great when you're winning. But what happens when you have a little skid?
Yeah, and we know that all these sports are cyclical. Like, you're not going to stay there forever. Whether you're bad or whether you're good, chances are your fortunes are going to change. And I don't know. I don't know how Danny White, who's been nothing but praised since he got here, I don't know how he handles a 7-5 season, because people are starting to, as he tweets things out online, like he was trying to tweet out a clarification last night about this deal. And he said, look, the 4% increase is not, I want everybody to understand, this is not a concrete thing. We are still going to implement what they're calling the NIL tax or the player tax. It's just what they ask of fans in the modern era with all these sports and with all these teams. It never ends, George. It is a one-way street. It's remarkable to me to watch this.
Yeah, because it's pretty ballsy is what it is. So let me ask this question, because you talk to a lot of people up in that area with your phone call segments and just in general what you do for a living. What is the reaction to this up there?
I mean, obviously people don't like it, but what these schools all know is that these people can't live without it. And so I've got so many people, George, that will call me and complain. And these are business owners in town, people that have lots of money will complain about the way they're treated by the athletic department. And again, this goes on here, there, and everywhere across the SEC. And so I say to them, well, if that's the case, then why don't you just drop my tickets? No, I just want to complain about it. I'm not going to drop my tickets. Which I call stuff like that, George. I call those things first world problems. You're pretty upset at the way the athletic department treats you, yet you're going to jump right in there when it comes time to stroke the check. And that's how these athletic directors know that these people they're going to get in line when the time comes.
Right.
I don't know any other way than how to put it that way. And the strange thing is, you and I both have a professional sports sort of mind. We enjoy professional sports. This professional sports, for the most part, they don't treat their fans the way they do in college sports. In professional sports, it's here's what you're paying. This is what you're paying for. We're only going to ask you for this one time. In college sports, they'll go back to these people, the top donors. They go back to them over and over and over and over, and it never ends. It never ends.
Yeah. So we're a week and a half away from Syracuse. Anything that either has you really optimistic or really pessimistic?
That's a great question. Tennessee has an excellent defense. I think they'll be fine in that game for that reason. That's where my optimism lies, on that side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, they named Aguilar the starting quarterback. And again, I think George McIntyre had a terrific camp. The Merklinger guy has not to this point. The interesting thing would become what would happen if Aguilar either faltered or if he got hurt. They would go next to Merklinger, but I don't know, based on the level that he played this summer in camp, how long he could hold that job. So Tennessee's hopes this year are really pinned on Joey Aguilar being able to play and stay available for this football team. That's of utmost importance.
So as you know,
it's going to be solid. Yeah.
As you know, the McIntyre family's got a lot of friends here. The young man's grandfather was Vanderbilt's football coach in the 80s when I was their sideline announcer, and I thought the world of Coach Mack. And I've told the grandson a couple of really good stories about his grandfather. Where did he surprise them the most in the positive?
Well, he can spin the ball. And look, they know that, and I think he fits their offense. I was told that, one of the concerns is if he gets a chance to play and people see him, they're going to come after him. Because that's the way this era of college football is. Very few places, if you look around the SEC, show me places that have two really good quarterbacks or two choices. You've got your starter, and then you've got kind of a drop-off. And, it would create quite a dilemma for Tennessee if he was seen and he went out there as a true freshman and played well, because they have a five-star coming in Faison Brandon, who's top quarterback in the class next year. And, obviously they would want those two guys to battle it out. for next season, and you want to stagger your quarterbacks like that. But staggering quarterbacks in this day and age is going to be more and more difficult because those guys just hit the road. It's hard to keep them on your roster.
Kelly, the floor is yours. Tony wants you to be focused and very attentive.
I thought you were going to keep going for the whole 30 minutes. I mean, you just kept asking question over and over and over again, George.
Were you bothered by that?
No, not really, but I mean,
Okay.
a little. I'll be honest.
Okay. Because
Hey,
my reaction would be deal with it.
Yeah, and you don't care, which I understand that. You're the director. I get that. You're the one that holds the red pen. I understand that. So, Tony, were they decisive? Do you feel like Josh Heupel was decisive in that decision with Joey Aguilar? We all knew, and you even said it. I mean, we knew he was going to start. He's getting paid the money, but like, was there some apprehension in making that decision, or that's what it was all along?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the decision all along. Look, especially when you got to camp and the guy that you wanted to push Aguilar along just didn't have a good camp. Just to this point, just hasn't had a good camp. So
right,
that made the decision that much easier. You know, we were talking amongst ourselves a couple weeks back, and I'm like, well, when do you name a starting quarterback? And people are like, well, you don't really need to till Syracuse game. Heupel said today, he said, in my mind, he said, you always need to decide it by this week because now we're installing game stuff, and I got to get a guy uploaded. And then he said, in this case, this guy has been here for so few days with us that we really have to get this guy uploaded and quickly. So it's even more paramount to getting him out there and acclimated quicker.
So how has he done in his practices? Because we've not really talked about that. Like you said a few times in the scrimmages, but like because we've talked about how he likes to fit balls in, which is a confidence. I like that. You have to learn what you can do, but sometimes when you get in a game and you think that your arm just goes through everybody, it just doesn't. How have they worked on that with him, and how has he looked in practices from what all you've heard?
I hear he's been okay. I mean, not great, sort of okay. And the truth is, if they can get okay quarterback play out of him, they can have a nice football season. And if they don't, they could probably still have an okay record because the truth is, on their schedule, unless offensively they go out and just have some horror show performances, they should be able to win 8 football games. The losable games are, when you look at the schedule, pretty obvious. Oklahoma here, Florida down there, Georgia here, and Alabama there. And so, at the end of all this, if the guy's a world beater and he goes out and can connect on some deep balls and really take to the offense, could the Vols win 10? Yeah, I guess. There's a scenario on the board where that could happen. Personally, I'm not counting on that. If the guy's an okay player, though, can manage the offense, can manage to, kind of keep games in front of him, play to an average level, Tennessee win 8 or 9 games this year.
So my last question here, because I know your son wants to ask some questions as well, so I'm going to get out of the way for him. But how has the wide receiver crew, like, it's amazing to me, like, you don't have the Willie Gaulch, you don't have kind of the name guys that they used to have. And I know that Chris Brazil, I think he's a kid from Tulane. He came back, and I think that kind of helped the other day in the scrimmage a little bit. But, like, what are you seeing for them this year? And do they have guys that can make plays like the Hendon Hookers to Jalen Hyatt and all that? Because that's kind of where we think of Josh Heupel's offense. And we had Watson Brown talking about how they run the ball, which they do. But, like, what do you think about this wide receiver core?
Strength of their pass catching is going to rely on their tight ends this year. I don't know what they're going to get from their wide receivers. I don't know that they know what they're going to get from their wide receivers. They have not been available in camp. Brazel, who you mentioned from Tulane, goes kind of in and out, up and down, depending on the game. It just doesn't. I don't know. maybe I gotta ask George this. George, you know anybody that like struggles to stay engaged sometimes? Because that's kind of how that Brazel guy is. He kind of struggles to stay engaged at times. But when he's engaged, he can be very engaged and be very good. But when he's unplugged, you know, he can disappear on you. So I don't know that they know what they have with their wide receivers. I think it's a lot like that across college football right now with a lot of these teams. We just don't know. But at Tennessee, with those guys, as much camp as they've missed, now they've gotten back recently, but with as much camp as they've missed, it just sort of adds to the mystery of what we're going to see.
A little bit like Kelly. We just don't know what we're getting show in, show out.
True. Keep you on your toes. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, he's a box of chocolates, all right.
Tony, I'm interested in how much do Tennessee fans watch Nico this year? They'll be playing at the same time as Tennessee and Syracuse, or Tennessee Syracuse on that Saturday, right? Yeah. So UCLA Utah at 11 a.m. on Fox, Tennessee Syracuse 11 a.m. on ESPN. Am I correct in that?
No. What are you going to play? 8 in the morning in Utah?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, PM. My bad. That's on me.
We know it's on you, Billy.
Billy, you do make a great point, though, because if I were an advertiser here or was recommending something, I would buy as many adjacencies to UCLA football, at least early in the year, as I could, because they're going to do huge numbers here. There is going to be a lot, and I mean a lot, of hate watching going on here. And I was talking with a buddy of mine who did a deep dive into UCLA last night, and he was sharing some notes with me. They had a horrendous defense last year, a year where it kind of cratered on them. They lost their top 11 tacklers from their horrendous defense. I mean, they're breaking in a new offensive line. The Utah game you mentioned opened as a pick'em. The public almost immediately bet that thing up. It's Utah -7 now.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be that UCLA deal this year is going to be quite a sight to see. And, Nico, here's the other thing. They're opening with one of the better defenses in that league. That Utah bunch means business.
Yes.
Annually. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of hate watching on Saturday night.
Yeah. One more. Steve Angeli was named the Syracuse's starter, and I think we all knew that was going to happen, or at least assumed that was going to happen. Who would have thought that Joey Aguilar would be starting for Tennessee and Steve Angeli would be starting for Syracuse? Two guys that transferred in. Angeli, Notre Dame's backup. We know where Aguilar came from. Does that not define today's age in college football perfectly?
Guys have been on their campus for like a combined, I think I put up my blog there, like 215 days combined on their respective campuses. And the point total in that game is somewhere between 50 and 55, depending on where you're looking. How in the world are those two teams going to get to 50 points? I mean, maybe Tennessee can bomb them out, or maybe these quarterbacks. The thing we don't know is how fast are these teams going to play? For those that like to play the ponies for entertainment purposes only, how fast will these two teams try and play? And if they do go fast and they're successful, maybe they score a bunch of points. But, geez, I wouldn't bet on that for either side. But from following Notre Dame, the Angeli guy is kind of a statue, but he can throw the ball a little bit. He's not a bad quarterback.
Yeah, he stepped in that Penn State game late in the first half and led a touchdown drive.
He might have to learn how to get out of that pocket against this bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. He'll be running for his life in that Tennessee game. Yep.
Yeah. So you're done?
I am.
Billy? Okay. So, Tony, there's a person or two out there in the Middle Tennessee area saying to themselves, man, that Basilio is one interesting listen. How do I hear him? They want to know.
I'm generally not this interesting, but, and I'm not sure I was interesting today. tclub.team is how you find me. Again, tclub.team. Love to have you. We're on after each and every Tennessee football game as well. Basketball right around the corner. It's going to be a really fun, entertaining, engaging college football season.
Kind of like Kelly.
I'll tell you what, Kelly's in the game today, man. He's in it to win it.
Engaged.
You're so full of it, Tony. You really are. You truly are. You're a Philadelphian for sure.
I resemble that remark, and thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for doing this. We'll talk again next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Tony Basilio, he is always entertaining. So much so that after the break, we're going to bring up something that he discussed during his segment. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Hurry, boy, it's waiting there for you. Did you like that, Billy? Yeah. Put your headset on. Talk to the people. Okay. I want to throw something out there. You know, what we were referring to earlier was Danny White, and this letter or email he sent out to the ticket holder telling them there'll be another 4.5% increase a year from now. And Tony sort of threw out there that, college football fans will put up with anything. I agree with that up to a point, especially early in the season when there's still optimism and there's still hope. But I also remember in Ed Orgeron's final year at LSU when it cratered, and all of a sudden you saw thousands of empty seats in the upper deck at Tiger Stadium. Remember when Nick Saban got all over the students who left at halftime of those 8 p.m. games that were, 41-2 at halftime?
Mm-hmm.
I guess my point to it is you can probably get away with all this if you're winning. But if you get to a point where you're in the mushy middle or you just flat out crater, fans, because of this attitude that prevails now, which is to get their very last dollar, the fan will bail a lot quicker than he used to.
I think Tennessee's a little bit different because if you remember the Derek Dooley years, the Lane Kiffin, some of those games, they may not have had the sellouts they've had under Heupel and the crazy crowds. But even when Tennessee's been pretty close to rock bottom, their fans have shown up. I mean, think about it. And we saw that with LSU and LSU, we've talked to Moscona. They've had some real issues with attendance. Those 11 a.m. kicks when it's 1,000 degrees.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, on those metal bleachers. So I think Tennessee's a little bit different. You've got a good point in that, Danny he's still walking a fine line with a lot of Tennessee fans who I've talked to.
Yeah, Danny doesn't give a damn about his fans,
but he knows they'll keep coming
apparent.
back. It's like Kelly's argument of the NFL. They're a cash cow. They know what they can get.
I think that fans are different in 2025 than they were in 1985, 1995. I think they were for their team. And I think all this transfer stuff, I've had people tell me, this is like the NFL. I didn't watch college football for the NFL. I like seeing a young man stay on our team. May not be very good when he first gets on the field, but then he progresses and fundamentally he gets better. I like seeing that. And this guy, he was telling me, he's like, I don't really care to watch it anymore. He said, I've been a UT fan my whole life. And all this stuff that's going on in college now, I don't watch college football because it's the pros. And we all know things change and they're getting paid. But he's like, I don't want to watch it anymore. And I told y'all this. I've got a neighbor down here that is a UT grad, and he's been paying for those tickets for 40 years. And they keep going up. And he said, this is it. I'm done. I'm not paying it anymore. And I think they're pushing some of the older fans out of this. I really do. And will younger people buy them? I'm sure, but here's the deal. Younger people are not a loyal fan like the older group was. They're just not, because there's other things to do. And if they're not winning, these younger fans are not going to go.
Well, and you're seeing what Florida State's doing. They downsized. Tennessee has downsized a little bit. Obviously, Vanderbilt has. And there's stadiums all across the country that are downsizing and putting, at midfield, instead of having the bleachers, able to put chair backs and even suites. I don't know if y'all have seen Florida State's setup. Well, you'll see it on Saturday at 2:30 in a couple of weeks. They've downsized, and Tennessee's done the same thing. So that's another element of this, the getting closer to the NFL game, the corporate partnerships and things like that. That's starting to be what matters more.
Well, one of the areas where the SEC fan has really gotten screwed over the years is the decision that gets made 6 days out, announcing that the game that you've got a ticket to that you think is an 11 or a 2:30 and now is a 7:30, and you're traveling 3 hours to the game and then supposedly traveling 3 back afterwards, that was sort of the first area where the SEC fan was getting totally hosed.
Although they have, I don't know if you've seen the schedules, they have put out the time windows, which some of them are 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. You don't know whether it's going to be 2:30, 6, or 7, but at least it's not going to be 11 a.m. And a lot of them, like half of Andy's schedule, I know is already set, and it's same thing with Tennessee. So that's how they've done a lot of these now. They've given you the window of when it's going to be, but it's a lot of those windows. It could be 2:30 or 7. So they've taken some steps, to get better on that part.
Always the consumer, though, guys. It always comes back to the consumer, and they're getting screwed nowadays. And what is that? Like they went to a 4% increase, and now they're going to so that's an 8.5% increase on tickets in the last couple of years. Is that correct for Tennessee?
At least.
Wow. It's always the consumer that has to pay for it. And Tony's right. I mean, college fans will pay for it, and I think this younger generation will pay for it, but I'm not sure they're not as loyal as the older people. They're really not. And I think you're going to, George, I think you've got a point. If they don't win and teams they're going to go do something else. There's so many more things for young people to do now, and they will just stop showing up to the games. That's just my opinion.
And where the school gets hurt is parking and concessions. The ticket may be sold, but when you see those big gaps, and who knows, it's not going to happen early in the season, but later when it starts to shake out who's for real and who isn't, then you see some changes that I think are bigger changes in crowds than you would have had 20 years ago. Okay, hour number 1 is done. We'll get stat of the day here in a couple of minutes. We need to hit one soon. And then Drew DeArmond will join us from Huntsville, Alabama, and we'll talk about the Crimson Tide in 25. That was a rhyme on 94.9 The Fan.
At Electronic Express, we're making it easy to save big this Labor Day with up to 40% off TVs, computers, appliances, mattresses, and everything you need for outdoor entertaining. For a limited time, when you buy 2 or more qualifying LG appliances, you'll get a free 65-inch smart TV. Plus, shopping local comes with perks like free delivery and up to 24 months of interest-free financing. Visit us in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. We've got that.
Join the Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee for the 36th Annual Steak and Burger Dinner, Tuesday, August 26th at 5:30 p.m. at Liberty Hall at the Factory at Franklin. Enjoy a night of purpose, great food, and powerful impact as community leaders and club members come together to celebrate bright futures. Support by sponsoring, hosting a table, donating auction items, or just giving what you can. Reserve your seat at bgcmt.org/steakburger. One steak, one burger, one child at a time.
Every child deserves to start the school year with confidence. For over 5,000 kids in Middle Tennessee, that's not always possible. A donation of just $20 provides a new pair of athletic shoes, giving a child one less thing to worry about. That's Souls for the 615, brought to you by Cromwell Media and Souls for Souls. We've teamed up to make sure every child in our community steps into the year ready, and we need your help. Head to thegamenashville.com/shoes and donate today, because every child deserves to walk into school with pride.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bopez. Our afternoon, putting us in dangerous heat levels here with high temperatures in the upper 90s near 100 and heat index values between 105 and 110. Bright sunshine throughout the day.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Start your engines. Nashville's biggest racing weekend is back. It's the Porchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, August 30th and 31st at Nashville Super Speedway. The speed, the sound, the stars of open wheel racing are all going full throttle, and you can catch every second of the action right here on 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Racing takes over Music City. Don't miss a lap. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network, ESPN 94.9, The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Talking Alabama coming up, but first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, or Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going Notre Dame with stat of the day today. The Irish are again going with a new quarterback. Who's the last quarterback to start back-to-back seasons for the Irish?
Kelly, it could be the 4-time Heisman Trophy winner, Ron Paulus.
That's the first one that came to mind.
You remember when it was, he's just going to win them over and over, and how did that work out?
Who was that kept saying that? Who was that?
Well, I think Beano Cook was one of them.
Cook. Yeah, Beano Cook was absolutely. He's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. Like when Tim Brando did that impersonation of him, that was spot on.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely the one that was talking about Ron Paulus as the next coming. Didn't work out.
Just in. He wasn't.
No.
How bad?
I mean, it was unfair to him. I mean, bless his heart. Okay,
I think I know this answer, but I do not remember the kid's name.
Oh, well, that's a big help.
I know, but I remember, like he got a shot. He wasn't a very big kid, and didn't he get him into the playoffs one time or something? I don't remember, but it's going to irritate me when I see his name.
Was this when what was his name? The linebacker.
Not Manti Te'o. No.
Yeah.
Manti Te'o, yeah.
Okay, we got to come up with somebody, don't we?
I don't remember his name, George. I really don't. That's who it is, I think.
Okay. We're looking for the name of a quarterback that Kelly says is it, but he doesn't know his name. Show us that person.
It is that person.
Ian Book. It. Gosh. Wow. Ian Book. I knew it. I knew that's who it was. Ian Book. Gosh.
You could say that for every stat of the day question, though, man.
I know, but I knew I could see him. I could picture him playing in the game, and he was a little guy. It was like a little jitterbug. I just did not know his name. That's exactly who I was thinking, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, George. I'm clueless.
No, that's okay. Is he not on the Baltimore Ravens roster?
I think you're right. He was with the Saints, and I know he got moved somewhere. I think it is Baltimore.
Yeah. I would say when it comes to that one, book it.
Book it.
Book it. Yeah.
I'm really sorry, man. Sorry.
I think
couldn't think of his name.
I think your effort was good.
I had good intentions. There's no question.
He's on somebody's roster. We just don't know whom. So we're awaiting a visit from Drew DeArmond, who is with ESPN 97.7 down in Huntsville, Alabama, and we'll sort of, measure the temperature down there.
By the way,
I'm talking about the Alabama temperature.
By the way, Ian Book was with the Eagles, but was released. He's now a free agent.
Okay, well, we'll get him a job.
Yeah.
So let's say hello to Drew DeArmond, who joins us from Huntsville. Drew, how you doing?
I'm doing good, George and Kelly. How are y'all?
Good.
We're good. So I know in your state exactly what is number one in importance, and that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. So you talk to these people every day. What is their mood? What's their trust level in Kalen DeBoer?
Well, I think it's very it's cautious optimism. I think certainly year one was a little rough, but when you think about it in context, it was better than Nick Saban's year one. And I know people say that he inherited the best roster in college football, but he really didn't. When you go back and look at it, it was a really good roster, but it wasn't the best roster in college football. And he still won more games than any Alabama coach in year one, and really, very easily could have won double figures, did not. But again, when you go back and look at it, and I've been blessed, I'm now 50 years old. I've seen the transition, from Gene Stallings to Mike DeBose, which was very rough. I've seen Dennis Franchione take over the program. I've seen several transitions, and they've all been rough. And Nick Saban's was very rough in year one, even though it started very well. So I think there's cautious optimism. Certainly it's very, very difficult when you're replacing arguably the greatest coach of all time. But still, I think they really like where the program is right now, and they want to see the results now. But, of course, they've hit a little bit of some adversity in the last few days with the injury to Jam Miller. But as I've said on my show and a few others, I think the three deepest positions on the team, the deepest is the secondary, but I think the other two are wide receiver and running back, and I think Alabama can withstand this. And I think the one good thing that's happened in this situation is they have 2 full weeks to prepare and come up with the rotation and how they're going to attack this. But I think it's manageable, and hopefully, from what I understand, with the severity of the injury, they can get him back by the first bye and before Georgia. And if that's possible, then I think Alabama can navigate it.
Drew, you never quite know when somebody's replacing a legend exactly what it is they're having to deal with, because there's so many factors to it. But if DeBoer had another Vandy kind of loss in year 2, how much would the seat heat up?
Well, I mean, certainly there would be a lot of frustration, no question about that. But the thing that immediately went through my head and I was in Nashville for that game covering it is I just kept thinking back to year one for Kirby Smart at Georgia when he lost to Vanderbilt in Athens, and I just kept going through my head, that there was a very rough transition for him in year one, and there was a lot of questions, and he stuck to the program, and we know what he's accomplished. And so certainly if there was another one, yeah, there'd be frustration, no doubt about it. But I think, when you look at the off season, the being able to bring Ryan Grubb back, which I think was huge because they've had so much success together. And then I think the biggest thing is the climate around the program, because you guys know the way he took over the program, and I'm talking about Kalen DeBoer, it's actually the most difficult time in college football history because of the way rosters can be now just completely turned over. And when you have a roster that after the spring, you don't lose anyone in the transfer portal, I think that says a lot about what the players believe in the coaching staff, and vice versa. I think they're on the same page. I think there's a lot of continuity there. And I think the biggest thing is Ty Simpson. I think he and his father, Jason, who you guys know very well in your state, he's been at UT Martin, I believe, since 2006. He's, been a kind of an institution in that state. Ty could have left 2 or 3 years in a row and did not, and stayed the course. I think he's had a really good off season. I think he's ready to roll. I think he's a good fit for this offense. And then a lot of times too, people forget, because if you don't take over early in your career, even if you're a 5-star player, they kind of forget that. It's always on to the newest toy. And I felt victim to that myself. I mean, because I think Keelan Russell is a future star, but I thought, since Ty struggled a couple of years ago, he wasn't quite mature enough and ready to beat out Jalen Milroe, I wasn't sure that he would win the job, but he's handled himself beautifully. He's certainly, I think, he's only played meaningful snaps one time, and that was 2 years ago in that ugly win over USF in Tampa. But at the same time, he beat out Keelan, who I think is a really good talent. And then I think Austin Mack's a really good player. So I think he's going to be set up for success. I think they have a lot of good weapons around him. And I think, if Alabama can stay healthy, especially at offensive tackle, because they're starting to develop some young talent and depth there, but it's not ready yet. I think Alabama can be really good. I think they have the defensive talent in place. I think that's another thing that was kind of overlooked with the finish last year that was kind of frustrating, is I think after that Vandy performance, the defense played really, really well, and they've got that staff back, and I think they've got a ton of talent. And then in hindsight, the injury to Deontay Lawson may have been a blessing in disguise, because you get him back, he doesn't leave for the NFL, and then you have the JUCO rule go into effect, which allows you to bring back Justin Jefferson, and then you get Mekhi Hill-Green from Colorado, and now all of a sudden you've got a very old inside linebacker room as well, which makes your defense even better. And so I think Alabama has a chance to be really good on both sides of the ball. But I will say, the one thing that worries me about the Alabama team going in, I think there's a lot of questions about their special teams, because they lost James Burnip, who may be the punter for the New Orleans Saints. They lost Graham Nicholson, their kicker, who didn't attempt a lot of kicks, but he was solid. He's gone. And they lost their holder and their long snapper. They've got David Byrd coming in from Cal Berkeley, but they have a lot of parts that they have to replace in the special teams area. And everybody always just focuses on offense and defense. But I think for me, going into the fall camp, my biggest question was special teams and then defensive line consistency. The defensive line, I've heard good buzz about. I think they're starting to, come into their own. But the kicking game was a little bit of a struggle in that second scrimmage. So going on the road in a dangerous place like Tallahassee, that would worry me a little bit.
Kelly, say hello to Drew DeArmond.
Drew, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, and I don't want to make myself sound old, but that's the first time I've ever had a chance to speak with you, Kelly. And as you know, I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, and I followed your career at Lincoln County High School, and I remember when you and Antonio won the state championship for Lewis Thompson, and you guys had one hell of a football team when you were a senior, man.
I appreciate that, man. When I had to go to the big city, I went to Huntsville, baby. So I was in Huntsville quite a bit. It's grown since I was in high school now.
Oh yeah, I think we're honestly, from what I understand, we're population wise, we're the biggest city in the state now.
Crazy, man. It's crazy.
Wow.
And I went down there, but it's huge. It's gotten so much bigger. But let me ask you this, Drew. What is the biggest difference in the regimes? Like the Nick Saban, who was there for so long, won so many games. What's the biggest difference between his organization and Kalen DeBoer's?
Well, I just think the overall approach, Coach Saban, I've never been around someone that could build a staff like he could. He, as you guys know, he lost coaches every year, starting in year one, but he was always able to replace people. Now, I will freely admit that the last 2 or 3, 4 years, I don't think the staff was as good, but, that's inevitable when you're somewhere 17 years. But even then, his greatness as a coach stood out so much that even with a staff that I felt like wasn't as up to the standard of what he had put together his first 11 years, his last year in Tuscaloosa, they're one play away from going to the national championship game because of just his greatness as a coach and his ability, to X's and O and lead and be a leader of men and just put, and put the pieces back together and adjust. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I just, the overall organization was just always amazed me at how, because again, Alabama was everybody's Super Bowl. By the time, he started winning at the level he did in 2008, where they nearly played for the national championship. Certainly fell a little short against Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators, but they won it all in 09, and pretty much from 08 on, they were everyone's Super Bowl, and they couldn't sneak up on anyone. And they were always, it was just amazing that he had more first round draft choices than losses. I mean, I was amazed at the consistency of the program and the intensity around the program, the way he held everyone accountable. I've never really been around anything like that. So I just thought it was a little bit different. Certainly the intensity around everything, the way, and I like Kalen DeBoer. I do. I think he did a hell of a job at Washington, but it's just different. But I will say this too, it's a kind of a different time now because of NIL, because of the transfer portal. You have to be kind of a relationship builder. And Nick Saban certainly, the players believed in him, but I think, there's been more of a personal touch around the program since Coach Saban retired. And that's not taking a shot at him at all. It's just different. But I will say the attention to detail, and then just the intensity and the game in and game out, consistency and preparation is just what, is kind of what always struck me about Nick Saban, because they were always ready. They were always ready to play. And, even when they weren't at their very best, they would find a way to compete at the highest level. And so that's what I'm going to be interested to see with Kalen DeBoer in the staff, game in and game out. If he can get this righted and Alabama gets off to the kind of start they need to, Kelly, I want to see, can they consistently be ready to play week in and week out?
Okay, so I think Kalen DeBoer is really good, man. I do. I've been saying that the whole time. I think he got himself into a situation last year, and this is probably not a fair question for you, and you might be reluctant to answer it, but I think he got into a situation last year with Jalen Milroe, who is a stud of an athlete. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback on earth, but he can throw the ball. But he got into a situation where Jalen Milroe is not his type of guy. You look at Michael Penix and what he did at Washington. It's kind of not his type of guy, but I think he read the room and he understood that if I make a decision to set Jalen Milroe down, I might have a mutiny on the bounty here, because the guys might turn against me. So I think he probably had to bite his tongue a little bit last year. And I don't think the average fan, maybe the deep fans understand that, but I don't think the average fan understands that he went into a situation where he had to play Jalen Milroe, and I don't think that was his choice. He had to do it, and I think he did really well with what all he was given.
Well, I 100% agree with you. I've said it on my show. I've said square peg, round hole, and it worried me going into the season, because I think one other thing that people don't give Alabama enough credit in Saban's last year is I thought Tommy Rees and Nick Saban built a really good offense around Jalen Milroe, which was built around running the football, especially when they figured out Jaden Roberts was the missing piece on the offensive line. And then what they did a good job of putting Milroe in position and it was in some cases feast or famine, but they would take deep shots, and he was a good deep ball thrower. But and then he would only have 1 to 2 reads, and then they would want him to use his legs and take off. In Kalen DeBoer's system, and this being a quarterback yourself, he wants you to be a point guard. He wants you to spread the football out. At Washington, they had 4 really good receivers, and Jeremy Bernard, who's now 1A or 1B at Alabama, was number 4 at Washington. They had a first, second, and a third-round draft pick ahead of him. Michael Penix was able to, distribute the football, and then they had an outstanding running game that complemented it. Where they had a 1,200-yard rusher. He wanted to run the ball more conventionally, but with Milroe and his athleticism, he had to use his legs to get himself going. If he couldn't use his legs, he wasn't proficient enough from the pocket to be able to throw the football, especially when you're talking about 30, 35, 40 times a game, which Kalen DeBoer is very comfortable in doing. That's kind of what he wants his quarterback to do. And with Jalen Milroe, it was more 20 to 25 times. and to limit those opportunities. And then if you notice, in 2023, Jalen Milroe didn't turn the ball over nearly as much. I think he had maybe 6 or 7 turnovers. Last year, he was a turnover machine because Kalen DeBoer trusts his quarterback. The best example I can give you is at the end of the first half of the South Carolina game in Tuscaloosa, Alabama's got a 2-touchdown lead. All of a sudden, he lets Jalen Milroe continue to be aggressive near the end of the half, and Alabama blows a 2-score lead in the last 2 minutes of the second quarter and then digs a hole in the third quarter, and was very fortunate, if it wasn't for some Lenora Sellers turnovers, that they were able to come back and win that game, because Jalen Milroe just didn't fit the system very well, and it put Alabama in a hole in many ways. Even in the Vandy game, he played well and put up some numbers, but if you guys remember, he had the pick 6 in the first quarter that dug him a hole. And then if they were coming back, they gave up, Elijah Pritchett gave up a blindside sack. They turned the ball over. Vandy goes back down and scores. His turnovers just were a huge problem last year. And that's one thing where they're going to, and that's when one great part of fall camp so far, no turnovers in fall camp for Ty Simpson, as he's done a really nice job turning into QB1.
Drew, obviously it's going to be hot in Tallahassee. Florida State got better. We'll see how much better they got when they play each other here in less than a couple of weeks. Bring in Thomas Castellanos. Obviously, he's talked a lot before this game. How motivated is Alabama, and what can we expect in this matchup?
Well, it's interesting because it kind of goes back to y'all's point about the differences between Nick Saban and Kalen DeBoer that I'm really fascinated to watch, because if this were a Nick Saban team, I'm just telling you, Castellanos is a dead man. I mean, I'll bring up Vanderbilt back. Everybody remembers 2017 where Vanderbilt got a really big win over Kansas State, and then they made the mistake of saying, "Bama, you're next," and all they did was put that all over the locker rooms. And Alabama came in and won 59-0. In the past, if you did some kind of bulletin board material like that, there's just no question in my mind that Alabama would have been locked in and they would basically destroy you. We haven't seen Kalen DeBoer's team do that. So I'm going to be really fascinated to see after Castellanos kind of poked the bear and everybody's wondering, because Nick Saban's not there. Is this really still Alabama? Well, we're going to find out, because they've had all summer to stew over that. And to hear Castellanos say those kind of things. And the one other thing, too, is Gus Malzahn has had success against Alabama, but he's also not going to reinvent the wheel. So I don't know that they're going to do many different things offensively under Gus than he's already done at his other stops. And Castellanos is a good football player, but I just think overall, if you're Alabama, you should be supremely motivated. Even with the injury to Jam Miller, I mean, it's something you can navigate, but this football team has a lot to prove. And Florida State does too. I mean, Mike Norvell, I've never seen a guy go more quickly from, the penthouse to the outhouse, from the standpoint of he was nearly in the playoff. He had an undefeated season. He had completely kind of resurrected the program from where, Jimbo Fisher left it. And then it all falls apart on him because the transfer portal can do that to you. So it's going to be fascinating to me. I still like Alabama to cover in this game. I picked them and this is before Jam got hurt, but I'm not going to change my pick. I picked like 34-17, somewhere in that range. I think the Alabama roster is better than the Florida State roster, and I'm not convinced, even though I think Tony White's a good coach, how good defensively Florida State's going to be. And I think Alabama is extremely deep in the secondary. They've got some freakazoids. Dejon Lee's a freshman that's going to push Domani Jackson and play. And I think Alabama's also got some pass rushers like LT Overton, who's going to be better in his second year and going to be a really good player. And then a guy like Keon Keeley, who's a 5-star, who's kind of been waiting his turn to become a rotational guy. I think this Alabama defense is going to be really strong. I think it has a chance to be the best Alabama defense since 2017. So I like Alabama's chances in this game in Tallahassee. I do respect the Florida State program. I don't think they're just going to roll in, and it's not going to be a massacre. But I think Alabama is going to systematically beat them down. And I just think Alabama's better in both sides of the ball, on the offensive and defensive lines, and on both those sides of the ball. If Alabama can just punt the ball, and when they have to, and just not make mistakes in the kicking game to keep Florida State in the game, I think they're going to win, and I think they're going to win handily.
Drew, you were nice to do this. Other than man, I really enjoyed Kelly. Is that we didn't need to hear all that. Good Lord, we didn't need to hear that. What's the problem, Kelly? Turn on your mic.
Billy's always muting my mic, and I've told him stop doing that.
That's on me.
Did you mute Kelly?
I did.
That was good.
He did. Drew, they're always hating on me, so I appreciate that, man. Thanks, brother.
No problem, brother. It's an honor to speak with you, and you're still the only Cleveland Browns quarterback to win a playoff game.
Yeah, well, I didn't win it. I lost it. But thank you for remembering that.
But it was damn close.
Well, you're in the playoff. I mean,
yeah,
hey,
absolutely.
And
yeah,
absolutely. I have to hear it every day. One of my colleagues is a huge Browns fan, so I mean, there you go. But you're the answer to a trivia question. We were trying to answer Ian Book. I heard you guys talking about Ian Book, and the funny thing is that I am not a Notre Dame fan, so I don't even call them Notre Dame on my show. I call them 1988 because they're 4 years away from being 40 years since they won a national title. And my favorite thing about Nick Saban is how much separation he created, in my opinion, between Alabama and Notre Dame with his domination of college football in the 17 years. Because, they were – Notre Dame, by a lot of people, for many years has been considered the standard in college football. And I think Alabama separated themselves during that time. So I enjoyed the fact that Alabama took some revenge out on Notre Dame a couple of times during his tenure.
Easy there, Drew. They just needed to get Brian Kelly out of there, and they have.
Now he's at LSU, and I think LSU is going to have a great team, so it's going to be interesting.
Drew, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Drew DeArmond joining us from ESPN Huntsville, 97.7 on the FM dial. Okay, we're going to try it again. We got a brand new phone number, and we're going to see if it works. You'll probably hear the number over the next few days more than you want. Bear with us. I want to get people acclimated to it. We're going to open the phones, and we're looking for red-blooded Americans who know how to dial the new number, which is 615-759-9949. 615-759-9949. Or to quote some of those cheesy commercials that give the number 4 times, or 615-759-9949. If you get a busy signal, hang with me. If you get a voicemail, let me know it, because we're going to try and get the kinks out of this damn thing as quick as possible. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds are back at First Horizon Park to start a 6-game series against Louisville. Pre-game at 6:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. We'll head to the phones here in just a second. I want to get a few more callers on, and I want, if one or two of you would sort of tackle an issue we brought up earlier today, which involves all these schools jacking up ticket prices and surcharges in the name of passing on to the consumer the NIL problem. When does it reach a point where the fans start saying, If you got some thoughts on this, I'd love to hear it. Our phone line, the new one, is open at 615-759-9949. Again, 615-759-9949.
Also text that number now. So we do have a text line. You can text that number if you'd like, but you can also comment your questions into the chat room as well on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, just like you normally do. But if you'd like to text a question in, again, that number 615-759-9949.
Be patient with us because you're probably going to hear that number a little more than you want, but we want to get people acclimated to it. Tony in Nolensville is the first call on the new line. Tony, welcome.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and glad to know that the line's working good and it come through fine, George. So that's great. Good job on that. And, it's nice to have that new technology, Billy, to where you can text and all that other, but I'm still old fashioned. I like to call into the radio show. It's a call in sports talk radio for me. And I've been doing it a long time, and I'll continue doing it that way too. So, but it's good to have the other options. Y'all are staying ahead of the times, George, or staying up with them at least anyway, aren't you?
I don't know about that, but you're nice to say that. Thank you.
Y'all, it's football time, and every time it gets starting of the season, Billy, if you've never heard it, Kelly, I'm not sure if you have. I know George has probably, but Andy Griffith does a rendition of what he is called football. If y'all never heard Andy Griffith do this rendition of him describing the game of football, you've got to go on and you got to go listen to it. It is hilarious. Just a snippet. He talks about the two teams running out of two outhouses, commencing the battle on a cow pasture marked off with white stripes, and 5 or 6 convicts out there going to try to keep them in order.
I had never heard about this. Billy, can you put that?
Oh, you haven't, George?
No, I have not.
You can go out there online. It is absolutely clean. It's hilarious. It's only about a 4 or 5 minute segment. Billy, you could probably bring it up. Y'all could probably play it on the air today. But it's Andy Griffith, and the title is, and it's called Football.
Actually,
Guys,
we got to hear it. What it
every
was.
year. Say what, George?
Well, the name of it is What It Was Football.
Right.
Wow.
And it is hilarious to laugh your butt off, and the way he describes it. I'm not going to run it for you. Not gonna run it. So, but I listen to it every year, a couple of times every year. I've come across it, George, back several years ago when I was looking up Leonard's Losers, which was a fun guys.
Leonard's Losers.
And
Nice.
Leonard's Losers. That was a good segment. So, but guys talking about the pricing of UT and everybody else doing it. You know, we've talked about this a little bit before with the Titans deal. The people are going to do the market's going by what the market's going by. I, being old-fashioned, senior citizen, I'm not going to keep paying those gouged prices. They're gouging me to pay for all this other stuff these players and everybody's going through. I'm not going to be a part of that. And will I continue watching the game? I will. But do I have my heart in it that I once did? I don't. Being a former collegiate player, that's why I do believe I find myself gravitating more towards watching my alma mater where I played at Austin Peay. I'd assume to go watch those type of schools. Kelly's sons at Valdosta State. I hope he does well, Kelly, by the way.
Thank you.
But those type of teams, I still, even though the NIL is in those schools and in that range of football, I still think I find a more pure game being on that level than the commercialized. We're now semi-pro, if not pro football on the what do you want to call it, the Big Four, the Big Five, Power Fives. I'm just not going to be caught up in all that. And the ticket prices, if the younger generation and the younger people and other people with money want to continue doing that, good for them. Enjoy it as much as I did back a few years ago. Kelly, you talked about your friend that's 40 years. My brother had season tickets at UT for 35 years. He gave all his stuff up about 5 or 6 years ago. He said, I see where this is heading, and it's a combination of running me out of the game and out of the stadium, and at the same time, I'm not going to put up with me spending my dollars going to that. So that's where I'm at. So, guys, it's an interesting topic, but George, you were right too. If a program's winning, people will spend the money. You let that program start losing, the first thing comes out of everybody's mouth is, yeah, and they went up on my price, and I'm not going to pay for that and watch a losing product. People are willing to pay the money for a good product that they're purchasing and putting on the field, but they'll fans are fickle, and fans will turn. They do it everywhere. They do. I'm going to hang up and let y'all discuss that, but I think you'll enjoy the Andy Griffith segment. See you guys. Thank you.
We're about to learn something new here. So, Kelly, just a thought. I don't think on game day, Saturday, that the college football fans' passion has declined to any great extent. I still think the college football fan loves football Saturday.
Yes.
But I'm not sure they love it as much Sunday through Friday as they once did.
That's what I'm saying, George. I think fans are different now. I just feel as though the Tonys that he just talked about, the Tims that's in my neighborhood here, they were loyal supporters, whether they were good or bad. And this new society of the selfishness, the entitlement, the younger fans, I just don't think that they'll put up with that. Like, if they're giving money to this and you start losing games and you're not very competitive on the field, I just think they'll just give up on it. They're not loyal. But I've always said, hey, right now, college football is still it. It's still where people want to be. It's still fun on Saturdays. They got College Game Day on ESPN. Everybody's still excited about it. The younger generation's excited about it. I just don't know how far this is going to go, George, and how long it can go. But what's happening at UT is going to happen to every college at some point.
Oh,
probably even
absolutely.
at my college at some point. Like, and Billy talked about downsizing just to fill stadiums up, but now you're going to have to downsize because maybe there's not as many true fans in the stadium, but now you've got all these corporate sponsorships, and that's why they're making all these suites and these boxes for all these people, because that's what's paying for the organization. That's what's paying for all this NIL stuff. And I don't know where it's going. I don't like it. It doesn't seem to me like it's going in the right place, George, but it's here to stay right now unless people stop watching. And I've told y'all this before. When I was in those NFLPA meetings, they had them every year, but they said, doesn't matter if people come to the games. We got to get that TV contract. If we get the TV contract, people are still watching. Doesn't matter if we do anything with the stands. We don't have to fill up a stand at all. We're still getting that money from the TV contracts. Well, the only way you're going to hurt stuff is to stop watching it.
We've got the monologue from Andy Griffith. Do we want to hear that?
Yeah, let's go to the break first. I'll be honest, I'd never heard this before. Kelly, had you?
I have not, man. I'm interested because I love me some Andy Griffith.
I can't wait to hear it. So we'll play it after the break on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Darren Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
the Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So I will tell you that until Tony's phone call, I had never heard the first word about Andy Griffith and football. But apparently this thing he put together in 1953, some of you may have heard it. I'll admit I never have. So, Billy, lay it on us.
Back last October, I believe it was, we was going to hold a tent service off at this college town, and we got there about dinner time on Saturday. And different ones of us thought that we ought to get us a mouthful to eat before that we set up the tent. And so we got off of the truck and followed this little bunch of people through this small little bitty patch of woods there. And we come up on a big sign. It says, "Get something to eat here." And I went up and got me 2 hot dogs and a big orange drink. And before that I could take every mouthful of that food, this whole raft of people come up around me and got me to where I couldn't eat nothing, and I dropped my big orange drink. I did. Well, friends, they commenced to move, and they want so much that I could do but move with them. Well, we commenced to go through all kinds of doors and gates, and I don't know what all, and I looked up over one of them, and it says North Gate. And we kept on going through there, and pretty soon we come up on a young boy, and he says, "Ticket, please." And I says, "Friend, I don't have a ticket. I don't even know where it is that I'm going." I did. Well, he says, "Come out as quick as you can." And I says, "I'll do her. I'll turn right around the first chance I get." Well, we kept on moving through there, and pretty soon everybody got where it was that they was a-going, because they parted and I could see pretty good. I could. And what I seen was this whole raft of people a-setting on these 2 banks and a-looking at one another across this pretty little green cow pasture. Well, they was. And somebody had took and drove white lines all over it and drove posties in it, and I don't know what all. And I looked down there, and I seen 5 or 6 convicts a-running up and down and a-blowing whistles. They was. And then I looked down there, and I seen these pretty girls a-wearing these little bitty short dresses and a-dancing around. And so I sat down and thought I'd see what it was that was going to happen. I did. And about the time I got set down good, I looked down there, and I seen 30 or 40 men come running out of one end of a great big outhouse down there. They did. And everybody where I was a-setting got up and hollered. And about that time, 30 or 40 come running out of the other end of that outhouse, and the other bank full, they got up and hollered. And I asked this fellow that was sitting beside of me, I says, "Friend, what is it that they're hollering for?" Well, he whopped me on the back and he says, "Buddy, have a drink." Well, I says, "I believe I will have another big orange." And I got it and sat back down. And when I got down there again, I seen that them men had got in two little bitty bunches down there. They had rail close together, and they voted. They did. They voted and elected one man apiece. And them two men come out in the middle of that cow pasture and shook hands like they hadn't seen one another in a long time. And then a convict come over to where they was a-standing, and he took out a quarter, and they commenced to odd man right there. They did. Well, after a while, I seen what it was that there's odd manning for. It was that both bunches full of them men wanted this funny-looking little pumpkin to play with. They did, and I know, friends, that they couldn't eat it because they kicked it the whole evening and it never busted. But anyhow, what I was telling was that both bunches full wanted that thing, and one bunch got it, and it made the other bunch just as mad as they could be. And friends, I seen that evening the awfulest fight that I have ever seen in my life. I did. They would run at one another and kick one another and throw one another down and stomp on one another and grind their feet in one another and I don't know what all. And just as fast as one of them would get hurt, they'd tote him off and run another on. Well, they'd done that as long as I sat there. But pretty soon, this boy that had said, "Ticket, please," he come up to me and he says, "Friend, you're going to have to leave because it is that you don't have a ticket." And I says, "Well, all right." And I got up and left. And I don't know, friends, to this day what it was that there's a doing down there, but I have studied about it. And I think that it's some kindly of a contest where they see which bunchful of them men can take that pumpkin and run from one end of that cow pasture to the other without either getting knocked down or stepping in something.
That is hilarious.
That's funny
Kelly,
stuff right there.
I've never heard that.
I have never ever heard that, and I'm a huge Andy Griffith fan. I love me some Mayberry now. You know that.
Oh,
Every
I
time
love-
it's on, I gotta watch it.
I love the way he says, he has these things in that thing that are hilarious.
His accent is perfect.
What they was a doing.
Right cheer, and right chair.
The big orange drink.
Big orange drink, yes. Tony, thank you for sharing that. I'll be honest, I'd never heard it.
I'd never heard that either.
1953.
That is
wow,
insane.
Might be the first comedy skit of all time.
Pretty good. Really
the
good.
cow pasture. I like the cow pasture quote.
The outhouse.
Cow pasture with some lines on it with some outhouses.
You know, I guess the modern day one wasn't there. Didn't George Carlin do one about football compared to baseball?
He may have. I don't know.
I'm
George
not
Carlin
sure
was funny too, man.
Yeah,
He was
I'm
a
not
funny
sure.
cat.
I'm not sure we can play it,
No.
but he's got some funny stuff.
Yeah, there is a George Carlin one on YouTube. It's about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think we might have to clean that one up a little.
Watch that one outside the show's parameters.
We might have to. Kelly, I don't know how to say this, but last night I left the airwaves feeling very comfortable with my picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. 0 for 3.
Were you really?
0.0.
You were fairly confident when you got off the air too. You think you'll win 2 out of the 3 for sure.
I did.
Wow.
And none of them. Red Sox, San Diego,
Commanders.
Cincinnati's defense.
Why was Joe Burrow out there for as long as he was?
I mean,
that
they
was
about got him
ridiculous.
killed.
He was playing with second teamers.
Yeah, what in the world was that about? Anyway, enough of all that. We will try to overcome last night's embarrassment. Plaster Bet of the Day is in the On Deck Circle, and it comes up next, right after this.
At Electronic Express, we're making it easy to save big this Labor Day with up to 40% off TVs, computers, appliances, mattresses, furniture, and more. And the more you buy, the more you save, with up to $1,200 in additional savings on trusted brands like LG, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, and Samsung. Shopping local comes with perks like free delivery and up to 24 months of interest-free financing. Visit us in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. We've got that.
More than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners. The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179. Tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
How are the Cincinnati Bengals wasting Joe Burrow? The Cincinnati Bengals are doing exactly what Joe Burrow wants them to do. You know how I know that? Because Joe Burrow told us what he wanted them to do earlier this offseason, and they capitulated to almost all of the things that he, quote-unquote, demanded. How are they wasting his talent?
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Who would have a bigger regular season, Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow?
There's this fruit out there that a lot of people actually love. I'm going with Joe Grapefruit Burrow. But here's why. Because he has to be in order for his team to get to where his team wants to be.
Better hold that defense will show up, or grapefruit's going to be grape nuts.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bopez. Our afternoon, putting us in dangerous heat levels here with high temperatures in the upper 90s near 100 and heat index values between 105 and 110. Bright sunshine throughout the day.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Start your engines. Nashville's biggest racing weekend is back. It's the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, August 30th and 31st at Nashville Super Speedway. The speed, the sound, the stars of open wheel racing are all going full throttle, and you can catch every second of the action right here on 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Racing takes over Music City. Don't miss a lap. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Tuesday. Time now for Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Well, George touched on it. 0-3 last night.
It was a problem.
Way to go, George.
So, Kelly, thank you for your vote of confidence. A friend of mine also texted me that wherever I go tonight, he's going the other way.
It must be football season.
That is so unprofessional. You know, I mean, even with those 3 losses, I'm right there at 500.
We're all for you, George. You know that.
No, I know you are. So here's where we're going tonight. I'm taking Tarek Skubal, who has struggled a little bit in recent outings, but is still maybe the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. He's at home tonight against the Houston Astros, very good team, but I'm taking Detroit and Tarek Skubal, and you should do the same.
Good luck, George.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
As I always mean it. I'm for you.
I know you are.
I'm sure your friend who texted you has already placed the bet.
Probably has. Mike Organ from the Tennessean will join us tomorrow. Who knows what all that means? Thanks for being with us. Thanks to Andy Griffith for a little bit of good football humor. See you tomorrow on 94.9 The Fan.